So, hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ashley you once again. And it's the semi-finals of the Champions League and Europa League this week. The first legs take place this week, and we'll see which teams will take that step towards reaching the final and having the dream of winning a European trophy this season. I mean, across both competitions, there are 8 teams left in total. And we'll preview each and every single team that's playing this week. Starting with the Champions League on Tuesday night. It's the first leg between Real Madrid and Chelsea in Spain. Zinedine Zidane against Thomas Tuchel, who will realise their dream of taking their team through to the final. Will it be Zinedine Zidane once again, or will it be Thomas Tuchel after he took PSG to their first ever final last season? Could he do the same with Chelsea? Well, they're 2 matches away from reaching Istanbul and repeating what they did in 2012 when they finally realised that dream of reaching the Holy Grail after so many years of investment under their rich owner Roman Abramovich. And they've been trying all these years since to add a second Champions League title until now and haven't really come close. And this is their first semi-final in this competition for 7 years. So how will they get on against a side who are perennial winners of this competition? 13 times they've won it. In his first spell as manager, under Zidane, they won it 3 times in a row and were clearly the best team in Europe, but obviously they haven't performed well in this competition of late until this season. And could they win another Champions League title and make it 14? Who knows? But this first leg could give us a real indication as to who will make the final in Istanbul, and there's not really much to choose between the two sides. Chelsea look very defensively organised, as we all know, especially since Thomas Tuchel has taken over at the club. But the goals seem to have dried up a bit. They haven't played that free-flowing attacking football like they did under Frank Lampard before he was sacked at the start in the first month of this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach this one, Chelsea, given they're the away team. Will they try and sit back and hold for some sort of result to take back to Stamford Bridge, or will they try and go for it and try to gain some sort of significant advantage in this tie? Who knows? They've already got the better of Real's City rivals Atletico Madrid in the competition this season in the last 16, and doing so once again here, and they'll be one step away from winning another Champions League title. So who knows? As for Real Madrid, they're starting to slip off the pace in La Liga. I think they've drawn 2 of their last 3 games 0-0, and you can see from their squad that they lack such strength and depth. Zidane doesn't really know who to pick from his bench as a potential match winner to replace those who are misfiring on the field. So Real Madrid, well, will they focus all their efforts on winning the Champions League, given their La Liga title hopes are slipping away? So they could, and they've got so much experience, particularly in that midfield with the likes of Toni Kroos, Luka Modric and Casemiro in there, and that could make all the difference in this tie. But Chelsea's defence, you would feel, could give them the real edge in this one as well, given the fact that Real Madrid, they most heavily rely on the likes of Benzema and Vinicius, maybe Rodrigo off the bench as well, to produce the goods, and they'll need to perform as well as they did in that first leg of the quarter-final against Liverpool if they're to have any chance of taking that step further to Istanbul. So it'll be hard work for Real Madrid, given that mean defence of Chelsea's. But if a Chelsea side, if they could marry that with like their end product up front, then they could be real favourites to win the Champions League. But they haven't scored enough goals really to suggest that they can strike fear into the top defences in Europe. So still have to improve on that front. I mean, Timo Werner finally got on the score sheet at the weekend, and that was in a huge game in the battle for a place in the top four of the Premier League and a place in next season's Champions League away to West Ham. But can he do it on the biggest stage in Europe, the Champions League? I think he's only scored once for Chelsea in the competition, so maybe this is the perfect time for him to add to that tally and take Chelsea that step towards making the final. But Real Madrid will have a plan to stop him, and the likes of Kai Havertz and Mateo Kovacic, a former Real Madrid player, of course, and Mason Mount as well. He'll need to have a very good game in this one. So pretty evenly matched, these two sides, and I'm struggling to pick who will make the final in this one, given the two sides have got such good strengths about them, but are not so good in other areas which could affect the game. So you can't really pick a winner for this one. So for this first leg, I'm actually going to go for a draw. I think Chelsea might have enough to nick a goal or two to take back to Stamford Bridge, but I don't think it will be much between the two teams. So for my prediction for this one, I'm going for a 1-1 draw, which would suit Chelsea because, of course, they've got the away goal. But who knows? Real Madrid are capable of scoring at Stamford Bridge next week, but Chelsea are equally capable of scoring up in this first leg as well. So still think it's going to be all to play for come the second leg at Stamford Bridge next week. And then the other semi-final tie on Wednesday night is a very tantalising one between the two two teams who spend pretty much every single season massively on players to try and achieve that aim of winning the Champions League after so many years of investment. Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City, two teams who have suffered a lot in this competition down the years, have suffered so much heartbreak in trying to realise that dream of winning the Champions League to reward all that investment from their rich owners. And it's been so long, they've been under these types of owners for so long, and they just haven't come close to winning the competition. I know PSG got to the final last season, but they were deservedly beaten, you would say, against Bayern Munich, and they had a pretty favourable route to the final as well. This one looks a much tougher prospect for them, and against the favourites for the Champions League in Manchester City, who finally got over that quarter-final hurdle by getting past Borussia Dortmund. And Pep Guardiola, well, he's a few games away from realising that dream of finally winning the Champions League with Manchester City after those 2 seasons at Barcelona where he had the likes of Messi, Xavi and Iniesta amongst others. People have labelled at him that he can't win the Champions League without Messi in his side. Well, he's 3 games away from shaking off that tag and finally delivering the prize that the City's owners have craved so much since they took over all those years ago. And with the first leg being in Paris, they have a real chance to take some sort of advantage back to the Etihad Stadium next week, but they'll need to keep an eye out on the likes of Mbappe and Neymar if they're to do just that and give themselves a chance, because PSG, as we saw against Bayern Munich, I know they were outplayed in that first leg in Munich, but they played very well, were very effective on a counter-attack and scored their goals at the right times, and they managed the game pretty well in the second leg, even after Bayern Munich pulled it back to 3-3 on aggregate. And you wouldn't have said that about PSG in previous seasons when they've collapsed after having such significant leads from the first leg, but this season and last season they seem to have matured a bit in terms of managing to negotiate these latter stages of the competition, and that experience could come in handy when they face the big spending Manchester City side who have just won their first trophy of this season, the League Cup at the weekend against Tottenham. They were made to work for it though, and by resolute Tottenham side, but they still got the job done, and they'll look to take a step towards realising that dream of winning the Champions League this week. But PSG, as I said, will not be easy opponents. Still trying to fight for the Liga title alongside likes of Lille and Monaco, etc. And so would Pochettino would love to get his side to get to another Champions League final after he did so with a Tottenham side that they spent no money on during the previous summer, so that was a remarkable achievement for them. But this is much different. PSG have spent so much on world-class players over the last few years to win the Champions League, and you would argue that failure in this competition after reaching the final last season could put all that pressure on him to deliver next season as well. So this could be it for Pochettino and his side. If they get past this Manchester City side, then I think whoever they face in the final, they'll be huge favourites. Because let's be honest, right? The Parisians have had a tough route to the final. I mean, let's not forget in the group stage they were drawn against Manchester United and RB Leipzig as well, and in the knockouts they've had to play Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and now they've got City as well. So if they win it, then it'll really be worth it for them, because it will have been such a hard route for them to get to the final. So hopefully, I think they can do it, because given the opposition they faced, they'll really deserve it. PSG for all their efforts to win Europe's Premier Club competition, and but it'll be very difficult against Manchester City, who are looking to achieve the same thing as well and on course for the Premier League title. So maybe that could swing things in City's favour, and I think Pep Guardiola will have some sort of plan to get his side some sort of result in Paris to take back for the second leg in Manchester. So it'll be nip and tuck this one as well. I expect two teams evenly matched in quality and in all over the pitch. Really can't really split the two teams. I know PSG's defences look bit more vulnerable this season in Liga than Manchester City's has been in the Premier League, but we've seen in the last few weeks a few cracks appear in City's defence, especially with John Stones. He's making quite a few mistakes at this moment in time, and that could be the difference in this big tie. So who knows? This tie will be decided on the smallest of details, and you think whoever loses on this it'll be a big disappointment for them regardless, because I think whoever wins this tie will go on and win the Champions League without doubt. So this is a big opportunity for both these sides to lay down the marker to the other two semi-finalists that they're ready to win this competition. And for my prediction for this one, it's going to be tough to call. I think two teams evenly matched quality-wise, and they've both performed well in this season's competition. So I'm struggling to pick a winner from this one heading for the second leg. So I'm actually going to go. I think this will be a more entertaining affair than the Real Madrid one versus Chelsea one, because these two sides like to attack. So it'll make for a very thrilling affair, and I think City will have enough to get some sort of result to take back to the Etihad. So if I were to make a prediction, I'll go for a draw as well in this one, and I think City will get a few away goals to give them that slight edge going into the second leg. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw between these two teams. And then on Thursday night, it's the Europa League semi-finals. There are two English sides in that competition as well left. First up, it's Manchester United against Roma at Old Trafford. Manchester United are the heavy favourites to win the Europa League, given they dropped down from the Champions League, and they've got all that European know-how and experience of winning this competition back in 2017 as well. So they'll be hoping to draw on that experience and finally win their first trophy under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's not had a great record in semi-finals of cup competitions. I think he's lost all 4 of his semi-finals since he took over as a Manchester United manager a few years back, and this could be the one where he breaks that duck. should you say, against the Roma side who are struggling domestically in Serie A. I think they're 7th. They're not really looking like they can challenge for a place in Champions League through their domestic league. So maybe they can focus all their eggs on the Europa League basket. But will that work in their favour? Maybe, given they've got some good players as well, with the likes of Edin Dzeko, Pedro and Borja Mayoral amongst others, who could hurt Manchester United. But you just get the feeling that United are still to get, still to get through another gear or two, and they could really put a real marker down in this tie and say, you know what, we're here to win the Europa League once again. So, and I think given that Roma's recent form in Serie A, they haven't really been that convincing. I think they've lost quite a few games in recent weeks, and the fact that they were quite fortunate to get past Ajax in their quarter-final. So all predictions you would think will lean towards Manchester United to win this tie, and but their former Old Trafford this season hasn't really been that great. They've lost all their games. All their Premier League losses this season have come at Old Trafford, and without a crowd, maybe this is Roma's chance to sense some sort of vulnerability within United's ranks. But you just get the feeling that United are starting to come together. I mean, they've won their last 5 games in the Premier League, look like they're going to finish second and qualify for the Champions League next season, so all their focus is on this competition, and I think they'll take this one really seriously for the sake of themselves and for the sake of Solskjaer and for the club as well. So if I were to make a prediction, I would say that United will win this one and gain some sort of advantage heading into the second leg in Rome. Will it be a comfortable one? I think given Roma's leaky defence in recent weeks in Serie A, I think this could be the first leg. This first leg could be the one where United take a winning advantage and make it. That will be enough to see them through to the final in, I think it's in Gdansk. So for me, I think United will win this one. The scoreline, I think it'll be 3-1 United, because they've got that quality up top with the likes of Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood, and Paul Pogba's starting to come into his own as well, and Bruno Fernandes is still a huge influence within that team. So for me, I'm going to go for a United 3-1 win, which info might give Roma hope because of that away goal. You just get that feeling that advantage could be enough for United to make it through to the final in Gdansk. So I'm going for a United 3-1 win. And then the other semi-final tie is Villarreal against Arsenal. Unai Emery up against his former club, where he was sacked, I think, like 15 or 16 months ago. So 16 months ago. So he'll have some revenge on his mind for the Gunners, but I'm sure he'll want to win this trophy again after doing it 3 times in a row with Sevilla, and take Villarreal into the Champions League, where I don't think they've played in that competition for so many years. So, and the fact they're struggling in La Liga, not going to qualify for the Champions League, means that all their eggs are on this Europa League basket as well. But the same applies to Arsenal, because they're not going to finish in the European places, let alone the Champions League ones. They're lying in mid-table. Looks like their Premier League season's going to peter out somewhat, and so this game is really big for Arsenal and for Mikel Arteta, because if they don't get through and win the Europa League, then questions will seriously be asked whether he is the right man to lead Arsenal back to where they belong, which is challenging for the Premier League and challenging for the Champions League as well. So this is a huge game for Arteta and for Arsenal, and as we saw the weekend against Everton, I know they put out a strong lineup, but they still lost the game, and priority is that they've got to take some sort of result in from this first leg in Spain back to the Emirates next week to have any chance of reaching the final. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this one, because Villarreal have got a threat up front with the likes of Paco Alcacer and Gerard Moreno, who's been in fantastic goal-scoring form, particularly in this competition. But Arsenal have got the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang up top. So and on their day they could really trouble the best. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in this one. For me, if I were to pick a winner, I think I'd lean towards Villarreal, really, because I think they're very strong at home. They've won pretty much every game they've played in the competition this season, and they look very formidable up top. So I would say that, well, Villarreal will score a few goals, but I think Arsenal have enough about them to get some sort of result in Spain, because they really need to win this competition, and I think given by their performances in the league, then it looks more likely that they're focusing on the Europa League, and a good result here in Spain will set them up very nicely to finish the job at the Emirates next week. So if I were to, I said I picked Villarreal as the winner of this first leg, but I actually think that Arsenal have enough to get some sort of result back to take back to the Emirates. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw, which would suit Arteta more than Emery. So the tie will be evenly poised in that sense. And that's the end of my preview for each of the 4 semi-final ties that are taking place this week. I mean, it's the final 4 of the European competitions. I expect these games to be relatively tight, because all the sides playing in it, well, they don't want to let their European dreams slip away before it has begun. So it'll be interesting to see who takes that step towards the final this week. But there'll be some interesting matches, some interesting team selections to be made by the managers, and by the end of this week I'll review all of the action that's taken place this week, and being able to look ahead to what's going to come next week as well. But as for now, this is my preview for the first legs of the semi-finals of both European competitions, and it's set up to be a fascinating end to the European season. So there are certain teams who you think would win either European competition, but who knows? We've seen in some seasons, you just never know what will happen. We've seen some unfancied teams, shall we say, go all the way. So you just never know who might come out on top, and that's the beauty of football. That's why I didn't really want the European Super League to happen, because without competition, sport is nothing, pretty much. So that's why I never fancied the European Super League, and I'm glad it was, well, written off pretty much. I know they've still got plans to have it in the future, but for now, I mean, it's not going to go ahead, and I'm happy with that. So, and hopefully the conclusion to both European competitions will justify that European football is much better with all the teams taking part, instead of having some teams in the European Super League. So good, some interesting times lie ahead. I did say in my previous video that I'll summarise all of the action that's happening in the leagues and somewhat, so I might do that in the next few weeks when the domestic seasons of those reach their climax. But as for now, this is the European football, and it's the main European football competitions, the Champions League and Europa League, and that's it from me for this week's video, previewing all of this week's European ties, and I look forward to getting back to you on here by the end of this week. So hope you enjoyed watching this video as usual. Hope you enjoy watching what I've got to say on my channel, and hopefully I'll produce content that is similar or even better in the next few weeks. So hope you all have a good rest of your day. Hope you all keeping yourself safe and well from this pandemic that's still going on around the world, and look forward to seeing you all soon on here as always. I'm out of it.